This is the M Zone.
And welcome to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the business. And you know, the big man himself who opens up the holes and I just run through them, Larry Lee.
Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day.
Well, we got a special guest with us right now at this moment. It is Regent Jordan Acker. Regent Acker, I'm just going to say to you, you had a big meeting yesterday that pertains to this. Can I say it was a PE something? And the reason why I asked this is because the Big Ten has been sending media outlets that this is not a private equity deal. This is a nonprofit partner. So can you explain that one for me real quick?
Sure, I'd be happy. First of all, I thought we were having Golden Bachelor talk.
You know he's going to town next week. Oh, Jordan, next week.
Yeah, Jordan.
I got prepared for the wrong segment.
Yeah, we're completely ignoring everything about Michigan, Washington tomorrow. Like after we're off the phone with you, it's just all Golden Bachelor, wall to wall.
And I thought PE stood for physical education.
Oh man. Well, guys, so here's the thing. They're telling a half truth, which is actually a big thing in this whole mess, guys. Is that are they trying to sell part of the Big Ten to the CU to the California to the trust? Sure, but what they're not telling you is the fine print. And the fine print is that California can sell this off to private equity in 15 years. And that would be right before, of course, they want to do a renegotiation of the grant of rights. It would be just 6 years after that. So, yeah, in the technical sense, they're right. But, of course, like anything involving this conference and Tony Petitti, you got to check your I's and T's. And you're realizing that this deal isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's not where we should be going. It's an affront to our values of the university. And I'm proud that our 8-member board, Democrats, Republicans, our president stood up and voted no on this yesterday. It was the right thing to do. I'm glad we're doing it. I'm glad to our friends down at USC. Can we say fight on against the Irish this weekend? Maybe we can. Is that okay, J-Mo?
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, it makes us look better. Makes us look better. I mean, yeah.
But like, look, I'll tell you, they've been right on about this whole thing. I'm proud to stand with them. I'm proud to stand with my colleagues on the Board of Regents who did the right thing and saying, Michigan, you know, if other schools want to do this, by all means, if that's what they want to talk about, they want to sell, go do it. But for us, and I think for our conference as a whole, we have to do the right thing here. And the right thing here is to not sell to private equity and is to do a debt deal, make sure that these smaller schools that need the money get their money. But on a more important front, and this is key, is that we do not have the right, nor should we have the right, to sell public trust, which is what universities are, to other entities. Those are owned by the taxpayers of Michigan. The media rights, the grant of rights, those are owned by the taxpayers of Michigan, and they should stay that way.
I gotta ask a question. Where are your local universities like a Michigan State and an Ohio State? Have you heard from them?
Yeah, you know, we've had conversations with our friends in East Lansing, and look, I'm not going to divulge some of those discussions. I think they're in a different financial state. I think our friends down in Columbus are too. But this isn't about money, because we can get the money. If these schools need debt equity, we can make sure that we can get that debt. We make sure that we can get a deal with a bank that gets a better rate than what this deal does, and we don't have to sell our equity. So if that's what this is about, we can make this happen, guys. We can make this happen without selling a piece of our soul. But that's what we've been hearing over and over again, is that Tony Petitti and the COPC wants to do this deal, and they want to do it without their board's involvement, and it's wrong. It's bad governance, and that's why Michigan stood up and said, you know what, enough is enough. We're not doing this, and we're not going to do this. and we're going to find a better path for our conference, and we're going to preserve our independence. We're not going to have private equity at the table. Not now, not ever.
Then why the urgency of trying to get this signed at an overnight? I mean, why is there an urgency for Tony Petitti and the Big Ten Commissioner's office trying to get this done like at nighttime before all the other colleges can get involved?
Well, that's a question you're going to have to ask the commissioner. But I'll tell you this. If the goal here is to extend the grant of rights, if the goal here is to bring in money to the conference, to start Big Ten Enterprise, which, by the way, Tony's talked about, I believe it's a great idea. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think the conference should have Big Ten Enterprises. I think we should centralize some of this decision-making. I think Tony is totally right. The issue here is about at what price. And for some reason, the commissioner is hung up on selling a piece of our equity, and these presidents have sold themselves to it, and I don't know why. It makes no sense for us. It makes no sense for our president. I'm proud of President Grasso for standing up and doing the right thing. Even when it's unpopular, he's going to go down as a great interim president because of what he did here. And I'm really proud of the work that the Board of Regents have done, because this is not necessary. It does not get us long-term stability. And we have gone through this over and over again with this conference, JMO. We've gone through Nebraska. We needed Maryland, we needed Rutgers, we needed SC, we needed UCLA, we needed Oregon, we needed Washington, and we have friends this weekend. We needed all those schools, but those would solve the problems. But look, it hasn't. Contracts to people like James Franklin to not even coach a down. And then, Indiana football gives out the third richest contract in college football yesterday. And I'm sorry, it's impossible to plead poverty when you're doing stuff like that. And the reality is they're not poor. They need to be spending their money wiser. And nothing in this deal, and this is key here, nothing in this deal would prevent us from having to bail them out 5 or 10 years down the line because they decided to give a bad contract to another coach. That is not something the taxpayers of Michigan should pay for. It's not something we're going to do.
Can I ask where my alma mater stands? I'm a UCLA grad.
Your alma mater stands in a very empty Rose Bowl right now.
I got you.
Is this a good time to pitch my UCLA should move to SoFi idea, or can we talk about that another time?
I'm all in with you on that one. I am all in with you on that one. Okay, we can change this. We can go back. I'm sorry. We can go back.
I think it needs to be out there. UCLA, SoFi, do it. Let's make it happen. But here's the thing: is these presidents have all decided this in a lot of ways on their own without consulting their boards. And the presidents aren't going to be there when the bill for this comes due. The stewards of the institutions will, right? And I think that's what trustees do. These must be and should be approved by their trustees because ultimately these are public assets. Look, under our rules, if we sell a house on State Street, I got to vote on it.
Right.
But there's this idea that if we sell our grant of rights, which is $1 billion entity, is just absurd. And that's why we as regents, and I, again, can't speak for what other schools are up to, but I've been having conversations across the conference, as have my colleagues, that we went and looked in the fine print of these documents. We insisted to see them. And what we saw under the hood was just crap, guys. It's not a good deal. It was better than the deal that we had presented by Commissioner Petitti weeks ago. It's not a good deal now. The debt deal makes no sense, the equity deal makes no sense. We should be exploring debt. We should be looking at other ways to get these schools that need cash, but we do not need to sell ourselves to equity because equity turns into private equity. And it's like one of my colleagues said yesterday, when you have a farm, you sell 10% of it. Well, that's one thing, but the next winter you're selling the furniture, then you're burning the farmhouse. What's next, right? Eventually you have no farm left. And that's where these schools are headed as long as we continue to go down this path. We have to say no, and this is what our governance system was set up to do, and I'm proud that we did it.
Will there be
Awesome.
other opportunities for Commissioner Petiti to come to all of you again, all 18 again, to make another presentation?
You know what? If Commissioner Petiti wants to come and talk to every board chair all at the same time, I'd be happy to hear out his pitch. I think that he did good work at MLB with MLB digital stuff, and I think he's got good ideas. This just isn't one of them, and this idea makes no sense at all. These are public trusts, and ultimately, at the end of the day, like, he or whoever the commissioner is has to make sure that they understand that they're managing public trusts, not private franchises.
Well, I guess one thing I'm trying to wrap my head around is this is a 21-year deal. I mean, if you think about it, it's a 2-decade deal, and who's all going to be around for that to happen? Like you said, and you're giving 10% to this. I'm going to say private equity company, and I mean, as you said, the ACC once thought long-term deals were a good idea. Within a year, they were all suing each other.
You know, first of all, JMO, I hope that we're around in 21 years having jug burgers together with us, right? I mean, that's our goal, right? Let's start there, right?
Right.
But think about 21 years ago, you know, we were watching the SEC on Jefferson Pilot and Raycom.
Right.
Our basketball games were on ESPN Plus. The Big Ten Network was still 3 years away from going live on TV. So if you think about this for a second, and what we're talking about here, we're talking about entities that may not exist yet that we're dealing with right now. And ultimately, that's the problem with the long-term deal. You can't make a media prediction for 3 years from now, let alone 20 years from now. And I think ultimately that's where we've gone really wrong. You know, it makes no sense at all to be trying to make a decision, trying to predict 21 years into the future what these conferences are going to look like, but more importantly, what the media deals are going to look like. And I'll just give you a quick example to understand. College Football Live on ESPN gets about 50,000 or so viewers per day, per week when it's on. Their YouTube ESPN show gets about 100,000 viewers a week, and that's today. What's that going to look like on YouTube 4 years from now? We don't even know, let alone 14, 15, 17 years from now. That's a long time, and I don't think that we can make these decisions today based on what we know right now.
Well, Jordan,
that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. We thank you for what you're doing. The university, I'm sure people at the university thank you for what you're doing and how you're processing this. I think that's a big save for the Big Ten itself. So I hate to say this, people should thank the University of Michigan because they thought this out. Everybody else was going for the money grab, though. Sounds like to me, except for USC and Michigan.
It's exactly right. And I got to tell you, this has never happened to me before in my 8 years of doing this, JMO. I got emails from Republicans, Democrats, independents, Spartan fans, Buckeye fans, and Michigan fans, all united on the same thing. That will never happen again. And I'm sure it should tell you something about where we are, that we're all united, that this idea is a bad idea. And I hope that the commissioner hears it. I hope he understands it. He comes back to the table with a great debt deal that we can sell to our constituents and make sure that preserves the equity of the University of Michigan and also preserves the Big Ten for generations to come.
He's Regent Jordan Acker. Y'all better listen because he knows what he's talking about on this particular point. Hey, Jordan, we'll discuss. Hey, we're going to discuss that Golden Bachelor next week.
Let's go.
You too. Go Blue.
Take care.
That's Regent Jordan Acker. Hey, we got him on. Got some questions. I got some questions in that Angelique wanted me to get into. See, your girl. Helping your girl out.
My home girl.
Just helping her out. Trying to help as much as I can, you know?
All right. Yes.
Jordan was good at that. Hey, he's defending the fence, man. He's defending the fence.
I enjoyed that. That was informative, man. That was good. Kudos. That was great.
Well, that's because, look, everybody wants to know what's going on. Everybody's talking about it. I mean, we might as
Right.
well bring in somebody who's not an advocate for it. And let's
Right.
find out why he's not an advocate for it. Because you got 16 universities that are, they wanted to push it, dog. They wanted to push it.
Right. Wanted to
I'm
push
just
it.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
Gary Rizzo's here, our weatherman. Gary, how's that weather? How's the rain not going to hit us?
It's looking good. I can assure you of that. Yep. The only wrinkle would be pre-dawn hours, a chance of a sprinkle of rain. That won't be enough to wet the ground.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the 4 or 5 a.m. hour, and then some drier air will return. And as we go through the morning hours, it'll be generally partly sunny, as what we see now. Looking at the satellite map here across the Midwest and where our weather's coming from, which will really be out of the lower Mississippi Valley region. It's fairly dry down there. Just a few high clouds, some high clouds. So all that's kind of heading up our way, coming up from the southwest. The normal high is 61. The normal low is 43. The record high is 84. 1963 has been as cold as 24 in 1976. The sunrise tomorrow, and we'll see it rise at 7:51 with a mix of sun and clouds. Sunset at 6:47, and there'll probably be some showers threatening by that time. So most of the day, the morning hours, now with the cloud cover coming in now, even as we speak, that'll keep the temperatures from dropping off the cliff tonight. So that's good news. We don't want a real cold morning. So when we have the gates open at the golf course at 8 o'clock or 7:30 at Pioneer, temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 50s. So that's well above the normal low of 43. So not too bad, a mix of sun and clouds. And then as we progress through the morning, we'll climb through the 60s at kickoff, which will be at 12:10.
Mm-hmm.
I have partly sunny skies, 70 to 71 degrees. The wind will be south-southwest at 10 to 20. And during the game, continued partly sunny, warming through the 70s. I bumped up the end of game. The end of game will be around 3:30. I looked at our length of game times this year, and we're averaging 3 hours and 20 minutes. So that means if we go according to plan, game will end around 3:30. I've got 78 to 79 degrees. I don't really see it hitting 80. Yeah, we'll have enough sun. There's an 80 west-northwest of Chicago right now in Rockford, Illinois. They're at 80. Davenport, Iowa, along the Illinois border, they're at 81. Then down in Kentucky, Bowling Green in southwest Kentucky, they're at 80 right now. And from Nashville to Memphis, everybody in western Tennessee is generally around 80-ish, 80 to 81. So that's the upper limit. I think Detroit might hit 80, but not here. We're a little too far west, and the cloud cover will threaten. So we won't see a record high, but it will be balmy. And the other thing is the wind will be south-southwest at 12 to 22 miles an hour. So it comes right in the south end zone. So kicking into that wind for the game itself will be a little impactful. Kicking to the north end zone, you're going to get a boost from that wind. So that'll have a little effect on the kicking game, not overwhelming. And the first chance of showers are going to be in the 5 to 6 o'clock hour, more towards 6, and then showers become likely 7 to 8. And by that time, it'll be dark. The sun will have set, so a lot of people will be on their way home and done tailgating even post-game. So not too bad. I'm not concerned about any really flies in the ointment with the weather. Again, upper 70s for the upper limit, and I'm going in that direction. That's like that's the sweet spot in the forecast. 80 or higher would be a poor bet, and mid 70s, yeah, we'll get that. We should overshoot that. So should be really downright pleasant for the game.
Well, it's good. Do I need to bring a slicker?
No, I don't think so. Even at, like I said, there's a chance of some sprinkles around 4 or 5 a.m. But after that,
okay.
When you go out and you look out the window after you wake up and you go, yeah, it looks like a pretty good day. it's going to kind of be like that all day. It's not going to really change significantly. As you know, the weather can change pretty quickly this time of year. But no, it'll kind of hold like that right on through the game. So as I said on Wednesday, I'm not bringing a slicker. I'll probably have a long sleeve T-shirt in the morning, and that's really about it as far as dressing for the weather. So can I give you one or two keys for the game?
Sure. Love it.
Yeah. Well, I got a new key that someone may not talk about. Let's prevent our opponent from scoring in the whole first quarter. I think that would be a key to the game. That'd be a good indication of how our defense is going to play. And then win the line of scrimmage. And you got to pressure this quarterback, who's a mobile quarterback, throughout the game. And that's the keys. If we're going to win the game, I'd really like to see Michigan hold Washington scoreless the whole first quarter. That would be a good omen for me. So a little bit different take on that because, we got to win the game here. And as you guys be talking about all afternoon, we got to see a lot of improvement on both sides of the ball. So if we hold them scoreless in the first quarter, that'll be a good omen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we've got to stop them. We get them out of that first series. Get that first series. Get a punt, interception, turnover, whatever it takes. But you got to shut them down. 3 and out.
That's right, 3 and out. Well, that's icing on the cake. 3 and out. Like if we do that, then I think we're going to be playing well the whole game.
No, that's an important fact. Gary, appreciate you with your weather report. Looking good, doing good. I can only give you a grade on Monday, though.
That's right. We'll see on Monday. First chance of showers no sooner than 5 o'clock. So that's like the very latest I can see happening.
Well, that'd be good because I'll be home by then. I'll be home by then. I'm not worried about that then.
You got it.
But thanks, Gary. Have a good day and go blue tomorrow.
Thanks, Gary.
Go blue.
We're going to go to a little break, but you know what, Miss? We got to tell the people we're going to we're checking out early, right?
Yeah, we got to check out a little bit early today at 5:30 as Michigan men's basketball. They have their exhibition contest with University of Cincinnati, aka Angelique U. Then tip off is at 6 o'clock. We will have the pregame coverage with Brian Bush and Terry Mills here along the network right here on the Big 1050. The actual game broadcast will then switch over to 102.9 on the FM dial because at 6:30, it's just a jam-packed day of sports. At 6:30, it is the series finale with Michigan hockey as they conclude their 2-game series with Robert Morris over at Yo. So Al Randall and Fred Plesh will have the call of the hockey contest right here on the Big 1050 starting at 6:30. So we're dipping out at 5:30 today. But this also is a good way of getting one last person on the Bud Light Victors Lounge. This is the last call, last one of the week. Caller number 7 at 734-998-1050. You and a guest get to join us inside the Bud Light Victors Lounge over at Joe's Garage for the Chap on-sign fielding countdown to kickoff. And, of course, food and refreshments provided by our friends from the Sidecar Slider Bar. So caller number 7 right now at 734-998-1050. You get to join us where? Yeah, you already know where it's at. Caller number 7 right now.
We're going to go to a break. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
Clear on the radio.
All right.
Can we do this, Miss? I'm sending it to you.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler. You got the big sweet himself, Larry Lee. And joining us is the president of the Ann Arbor Club of U of M. And he is Kevin Fitzsimon. Hey, Kev, what's up, man?
Hey, Jamie, I'm proud of you. You got the pronunciation right. Way to go, buddy.
I'll get it. Don't worry. It takes a little time. I'm getting older.
I had to burn it into his. I had to burn it into his brain there, Kev. So we're all good. Hopefully, we just let it smolder now.
No, that's good. That's good. No, doing great, guys. And boy, love the forecast that was just given by your weather guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's going to be an ideal day for football tomorrow.
That's what it is, Kev. Hey, we're gonna get it in. We're gonna get it in underneath the auspicious of rain.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I as you know, I was at the USC game last week, which was kind of a disappointment. I mean, it was an exciting trip, and the experience of being in the Coliseum was great. And Michigan fans showed out. I was in the Michigan section, and it was all good until it wasn't, and we were all kind of startled at the ease that USC was able to control not only the line of scrimmage but control the ball. I mean, we had the ball virtually no plays in the first half or the first quarter in particular, and the defense simply just couldn't get off the field. So that was apparent to everyone. There's no sugarcoating that. And then on Monday at the luncheon at the U of M Club in Ann Arbor, which we meet every Monday at Weber's Inn, we had co-offensive coordinator Steve Kasula speak to us. He's also responsible for tight ends. And, he was pretty frank about it, too. We just did not play well. And he couldn't speak for the defensive side of the ball, but, that's apparent to anyone who was watching that game. And, they tried to come back. I mean, it was a couple of moments there with the turnovers that we had that we could get. The hole just got too deep, and unfortunately, Bryce made a unfortunate throw when we were looking to get back into a one-score situation, and that was really the long and short of it.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. So not really, I will say about Steve, he was very, very open, as all our coaches are that come to the club, very honest in discussing and assessing what needs to be done. Those things are always stay within the four walls of the club, but the beauty of the club is that these questions that are posed by our members are answered directly without, fear of reprisal, without being put on the internet, without being a soundbite on ESPN. It stays in the room, but you get honest answers. And we heard those answers from Coach Kasula, and we're grateful for that. So we'll have another coach come and speak to us this Monday. It's tomorrow's game. Jed Fish, he's got history here. He's one of Harbaugh's first assistants when he came in. He's done very well at Arizona, and he's got a better team. They beat us last year, but he has even a better team this year. It's a game talent-wise we stack up. We should win, but at the same time we could lose if we come up with the same effort as we last Saturday. So, it's really a pivotal game. I think it's going to be a bellwether for the rest of the season, and hopefully the coaches got to the grindstone with these guys, and the tackling is a lot better because it was apparent there was a lot of whiffs, and we do a better job at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. So we'll hear from a football coach again on Monday. And we'll have another second coach speak to us, Mark Rothstein, who has been the only rowing coach in the history of the Michigan women's rowing program, will be our second speaker. He's been there 30 years, took him from a club team to one of the most competitive teams in the country. And last week we had Cassie Turnside, who is our women's water polo coach. She's in her second season, and Cassie came to us from Harvard, where she coached not only the women's water polo team, but the men's as well. And she herself is a two-time NCAA champion. She was a water polo athlete at Stanford University. And something that was pretty special about the luncheon that was held this past Monday at Weber's is, as you know, one of the tenets of the club is to provide with the dues from our members scholarships. And one of the recipients of our Dowd scholarship, because Columbus Day was off of school, and she came and addressed the crowd. Her name is Riley Chappell, and a very, very impressive young lady. She hails from the Dallas, Texas area, and she herself is an outstanding athlete. She's elevated up to captain now on the team, but she graduated. She got her undergrad degree in 3 years, and now she's going to Ross for her master's, all within 4 years. She's going to be an accelerated program at Ross, a 1-year program there. So we got a chance to meet and see some of the athletes that we benefit, because we give scholarship money to all sports and also contribute to a unified program that supports nutrition and mental health, as well as giving scholarships to Washtenaw County students on the basis of merit and need. But to have one of the athletes come in, talk about how much it's meant to them, how much Michigan means to them, it was really heartwarming and filled a lot of our members with pride, and that we're helping somebody that represents our university so well. So that, in a nutshell, is what took place on Monday. You know, the football season right in the teeth of it. I am going to be going to the basketball game tonight, and very excited to see these new players that come in that match up with the 5 players that have returned and how that chemistry goes. We will have Dusty May come and speak to the club. That date will probably be confirmed in the next week or two, so stay tuned there. But we go right from football into basketball, and you know we're top 7, top 5 team right now with a lot of talent. So you know it's not too late to join the club. It's only $60, and that covers you for the entire year up through the spring game, which takes place in April. So, you know, that $60 goes towards scholarships, but you get an opportunity to come each every week to Weber's and hear from these coaches, hear from these athletes and all our sports, and get your questions answered respectfully by a coach directly without having any information that's shared in that room go anywhere else. So it's a unique club. You don't have to be a Michigan grad to be a part of the club. And you can join by simply going onto our website, uofmclubofanarbor.com. And on the first page there, you'll see a link that'll take you right to our application. It's a digital application. You can fill that out, pay via Apple Pay or pay via credit card, and you're good for the year. And we'd love to see you guys, your listeners, come out. We get underway at 11 o'clock. We come about 11:15, and then about 12:15 we're done. So if you've got an hour and 15 minutes to spare in your day, especially if you're working from home, you got an opportunity to come and start your week off by getting to about the game that was, and then the game that's about to be. So want to thank you again, Jamie, for allowing us to come on. And the weather forecast looks good. I'm hoping the football forecast is equally good by the time 3:30 comes around tomorrow.
Yeah, we are too. We're hoping that, you know, a new revival of a team that comes out and plays and work and play together.
Absolutely, Jamie. So, hey, thanks again for your time, and thanks for supporting the club. Have a great weekend, and go Blue.
No problem, Kev. Appreciate you. And
All right, Kev, take care.
And drive safe wherever you're going.
Going to the game. All right, go Blue.
Go Blue. Well, that was Kevin Fitzsimon. Well, I'm getting it now. Fitzsimon, who's on his way to the game. He's trying to get there at a reasonable time. He left kind of early, okay, but you get there early. That's true.
Yeah, beat the crowd.
Yeah, Cincinnati. You know, I always think Bobby Huggins when I think Cincinnati, but
me too. Yeah,
he finished his career at West Virginia. Remember?
Yep. Yeah. Well, he went to West Virginia. He was Bobby Knight-ish.
Yes, he was Bobby Knight-ish. He's a special coach, and he did a lot of great things for college basketball. So it'll be
he did. Yeah.
what we have in the tank, what we got, and Kevin's is right. We're in that top 7 right now in the Big Ten, and we're nationally ranked. So I mean, that's great for us.
Yes.
Dusty's done a great job. He's got this team headed in the right direction. He's turned things around. So he's done some things that have helped us out and got us where we needed to be. So you got to be proud for that, you know.
Did the outgoing guy, coach, former player, I can't think of his name right now. Is he coaching anywhere right now?
Howard. He's coaching in Brooklyn, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think he's coaching in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Assistant coach.
Fab Five.
Yeah. He's doing okay.
Good.
Hey, looks like he's doing well, and he's a Michigan man. So we
Oh yes, sir. Wish him well.
That's right. You wish him well and everything. So he's doing well. I mean, hey, Kev's right. Hey, that was interesting with Jordan, though, huh? How about that?
With Jordan?
Yeah, with Jordan, the whole private equity thing, not.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, I love that segment, man. That was right on. That was great, man. He he was
about that, dude. They were trying to get that in on the secret. They wanted to get that in. They wanted to get that one in. I'm just telling you, they were trying to secretly get that one in.
Yep. There's an old saying: if you're not at the table, you're on the table.
Right.
And so that was I enjoyed that. Kudos, man, for getting him on. That was great. Inside.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Not not long after the Regents publicly denounced the deal, the executive committee of the Big Ten Council of Presidents and Chancellors released a statement saying talks within the league would continue, but they're not signing any deal right now.
Right.
So,
in true scouting fashion, you see, I tried to pick his brain about my school, man. You always gotta have your eyes and ears open, man. I was trying to get it out of him. See what my Bruins.
Here's the problem. He's right. These other schools have really bad debt. I mean, if you think about it, they really have bad debt. And I have nothing but respect for these universities. But I mean, look at Penn State and Northwestern. They each have major stadium renovations in progress, costing between $700 million and $1 billion. Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
another thing I caught, he said, now you can't cry broke if you're doing that, Right.
You can't. I mean, you cannot call broke.
Right.
I mean, I give you the Illinois is reported to have the most debt service of any Big Ten athletic department at $312.5 million. Think about that. What's that $100 million? What's that $100 million gonna do? Really? It's just it's. I mean, you might as well just give that all to that. You know what I'm saying? We were talking about travel for the kids and different things like that. Paying the $20 million for the revenue sharing. They got too much debt.
Yeah, look at Indiana, man. They just gave that coach all that money. You can't cry broke when you're doing that.
Right, that's what Jordan said. You can't cry broke. You can't say we got some problems. Now I know it's the pandemic that got everybody. You know that.
Right.
Got everybody.
But the intangible is that all the money is not coming from the universities, i.e., at Penn State when Adidas stepped in. You see what I'm saying? So
no, you're right.
So that's got to be taken into account. I don't know how you mix that or how much of that is in the mix, and that might be what everybody's using as their barometer. But a lot of outside monies and not just dealing with obviously, I like to hear how these stadiums are being built. Was it public money? Was it private money building these stadiums and that kind of thing? So then you can take a look at where these schools get their money from.
Right. All I'm saying to you is, and I want to know really what is it? I know it's coming out where you reside, Larry. It's at UC Investments, but they claim it's a nonprofit. Now, how did that become a nonprofit when it was a private equity in the beginning?
Right.
It's just confusing to me. That's confusing to me. We need to. I mean, you want to hear that? The Big Ten should want to hear that, right?
Well, it's squashed for now, so they'll try to bring it back up. But you're right; they tried to sneak it through. They tried to sneak it through, and SC Michigan wasn't having it.
No, it wasn't, and that's very financially fiscal for those two schools to do that. You know?
Yeah.
And I get it. Everybody has their problems. Everybody has their money problems, and they need to get as much money as they can. That's why some said, "Hey, let's go with it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it." Others, nah, this ain't gonna work, bro. This just more dead on us.
So those two schools, probably, I'm assuming, they just have a great alumni base, a great contribution base, and they're not as dependent as the other schools, and they don't have especially with all these NILs and everybody's donating money back to these universities and everything now. USC with their grand alumni system, and Michigan with their grand alumni system. That tells you the difference between them and other schools.
No, you're right. It just shows you what they value. You want a quick. If you want a quick fix, you want to look at it that way. And I guess they do want a quick fix. They need that money now.
And that's what drives me crazy about my alma mater. We're just as well off as all these other schools. You've heard me preach Bel Air, Brentwood, Beverly Hills, right. Hollywood celebrities and everything. We should not be in the shape that we're in at UCLA. And, kudos to Michigan and USC, kudos, because we shouldn't be in that shape, but we are.
No, you're right. And it's tough. UCLA athletic department, which did not list any debt or debt service in fiscal 2024, has spent $200 million more than it has brought in over the last 5 fiscal years. How about that?
Wow.
I'm just saying.
That's mismanagement.
Most people be out on the streets. You know it as well as I do.
I know.
With that's mismanagement.
That's mismanagement right there. So, I can't explain why, but I kind of got some ideas. But that's mismanagement.
And we talk about, and I'm not trying to talk bad. This is not hateful. I'm not trying to be hateful. I ain't calling nobody out. This, Ohio State has the league highest $255 million in fiscal 24, but they report $37 million more in expenses than revenue. How about that? Ohio State, with only $150.8 million in their athletic endowment, also owes another $287 million in athletic debt. I get it. They trying to get, I get it now. Seeing these numbers and talking about it.
So am I thinking right? In some of these cases, you got to be good at robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yes, they are good at it. And You know what? They good for it. They look at all the people that go to their games. Look at all this.
Yeah.
Look at you know how they selling it. Look at
Yep,
us.
yep.
We making money. We can make all the payments, right?
Right.
We can make the payments. We
Mm,
got that because that's what we do. We do this kind of thing, you know.
right. Yep. So, great topic. Great topic. I'm gonna dive into this a little deeper on my own too, because that's interesting.
It
And
is interesting.
that kind of stuff intrigues me, man.
It's what's out there. You know, Tony Petiti is trying to make rain. He's trying to make rain. That's what he's trying to
Yeah.
do. I'm saying in a good way, he's trying to make it rain. But I
Right.
mean,
Right.
you can't be you. And look, you can't give me. You give me 24 hours. Hey, we got to get a yes out of y'all 24 hours. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah. There's something we totally don't know about. Or he probably has a great private equity group or groups on the hook, and he want to try to pull it off, and or they might be stressing him out about how to get involved, because kind of went through that with the NFL. The NFL, when they opened the doors to private equity, man, behind the scenes, there were all kind of groups being formulated and trying to get to Roger and that whole thing. So now it's just trickling down to college, but colleges are in a little better shape. But Roger, I think colleges are, well, that might not be so true. The NFL, Roger has made the owners a lot of money with all these deals and TV deals, and there's been a lot of the NFL team evaluations have gone out off the charts, man.
Yeah,
So
they have. They're up that chart. Those franchises are all
yeah,
quite a penny.
yep. So with that being said, I think they were trying to quickly take on the NFL model, but there are too many Chiefs and not enough Indians, I
I
guess.
try to be like the NFL because you're not like the NFL. You're
college
like
is
the NFL. Colleges they're not owned. These departments are not owned. You have
true.
16 public universities and 2 private universities.
But they're starting to become more like in how they run. They're starting to become more like the NFL. That's why you're starting to see general managers at the collegiate level, and
I
then
agree with you,
when you're paying the players and everything,
right.
now you need. So I think it's becoming more and more.
Run a public university like a personally owned, a privately held company like the NFL clubs are. Except for the Green Bay Packers, right? Except for the Green Bay Packers.
Except for well, that's part of my argument about my university, is that we're still acting like a collegiate school in a university when the pro model is what's being done. So we got to get with the times.
Right. No, we do. I get it, and I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make more money for this league, for these schools and different things like that. But we can't be hasty. We can't just run to the next best thing. Hey, we got this deal. We got that deal.
Right. Well, in the past, the universities were making all the money, and the student athletes was just getting the education out of it. But now that the student athletes are getting paid, you're gonna have to think differently about how you obtain your money and how you pay out your money now, because it was not universities were making so much money off of athletes, as we know, and now that's not the case anymore. So it's a new financial system now that they have to adjust to.
We need to go to a break because we got Austin Meeks coming up on the other side. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
Clear on the radio.
Ah. Oh, I can't talk to you right now, Rodney. Thomas was in yesterday, Rodney.
Thomas Glines, the bottom line.
I got to call John Wangler.
Wangy tangy.
Break a leg tonight. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome to the M Zone. Welcome back. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler.
Yeah.
And we got Austin Meeks from The Athletic. Oh. Austin, not a pretty game on Saturday. We saw some ugly things that I you don't want to see, but maybe you get a look at them and that you can show that film to these players and they'll listen to you a little bit closer.
Well, there's certainly a lot of teaching points from that game. If you want to put a positive spin on it, for the players, probably for the coaching staff as well, some things they can look back at and say, what could we have done differently in this game? I think really from the top down for the whole program, it's one of those games that makes you just look in the mirror and say, all right, we were not good enough in that game, really in any facet. And I think everybody should feel like, no matter what your job is, you got to get a little bit better at it this week for Michigan to be able to get back on track.
Things that stuck out. I think we found out we have two good receivers that can go get the ball. I thought that was satisfying. I think, and then on a good note, I think Bryce is learning. He keeps learning. Hey, when he threw that ball and got intercepted, he looked at it and you can't get sacked you can't get sacked in the position he got where you took your team out of field goal range. So I think he learned some things there.
Yeah, some good and bad from Bryce Underwood, as you would expect. The interception obviously was a mistake. The sack in the red zone, as you mentioned, was a mistake. Take Michigan out of field goal range. But had the touchdown to Donovan McCulley, had the long touchdown to Andrew Marsh. I think there's obviously things in that game you look at and say Bryce Underwood could have done better, but I also don't think if we're talking about what were the biggest issues, what are the biggest things Michigan needs to correct coming out of that game, I probably wouldn't start with Bryce Underwood. I think he did enough as a freshman quarterback in that environment that if the other parts of the team had been there to support him a little more, then I think Michigan could have been more competitive in that game.
Right. I agree with that. And then from a defensive standpoint, now here's what I want to say about the defense. Okay. You can see that USC used their week off, and they did a lot of changing of their offense. They did a lot of things that Michigan hadn't seen, and they used it. They used it right away and got there. Now the throwing the ball to the receivers as quick as possible, the screens, different things like that. Yes, Michigan, they're going to do that because generally teams that if teams have good pass rushes, you need to slow them down. And you do that. That's how you do things. You run draws, you throw the ball over, on screen plays, different things like that. So those are things you should pretty much see with Michigan's pass rush, right?
Well, yeah, any team that can get after the quarterback should expect a lot of quick passing game, a lot of screens. Michigan sees that all the time. None of that should be new or surprising to Michigan. And maybe USC hadn't done as much of it, but Michigan's pass rushers have talked forever, about how teams try to neutralize them with the quick passing game. And to me, the backbreakers were 3rd and 26. You give up a 49-yard run. That's the kind of stuff that just can't happen. It's been a long, long time since I've seen a Michigan defense get gashed that way on the ground.
Right.
I've really had to rack my brain and say, when was the last time I watched the team run on Michigan the way USC did? And, TCU in the Fiesta Bowl, maybe, they had success running on Michigan. Other than that, you almost got to go all the way back to the COVID year, when Wisconsin came in. And if you remember that game, I'm really having to stretch my memory here to come up with time that I can remember a team just going out and running on Michigan the way USC did. To me, that's the most disappointing part, because whatever else you want to say about Michigan, they've been able to stop the run. That's one of the things they've been able to lean on really for the last 5 years. And to have that just disappear in that game was pretty head scratching to me.
Yeah, that was tough to do. And then from a lineman, I mean, was this from blocking? I mean, we didn't win the offensive line of scrimmage and we didn't win the defensive line of scrimmage, Austin. It was tough to even watch sometimes, but what happened with the offensive line? I thought we were progressively getting better, and now it's like we took a step back trying to run the ball.
Yeah. Well, obviously the injury to Justice Haynes, that impacts things. Second half, although Jordan Marshall had some nice run. There's been too much pressure on Bryce Underwood. I think that's just obvious to anybody watching. And also, when you've got a freshman quarterback, it takes a while as a quarterback to really, really be able to get comfortable stepping up in the pocket when the rush is coming at you and making a throw. And so it kind of snowballs. Bryce Underwood's under pressure. He's got to scramble, and maybe he's looking at the rush a little bit, getting a little bit of happy feet. It just all kind of compounds together. But I just think this offensive line, even though they've had some moments this year when they've been able to set the tone, but they just haven't been able to do it consistently. They couldn't do it in that game consistently, even with Giovanni El-Hadi back. It just that unit just has not, as a whole, gelled to the point that you'd like it to be at mid-season, where you feel like Michigan can just go out and run the ball and create manageable situations for Bryce Underwood. There's a lot on Bryce Underwood right now, probably too much. He's just going to have to kind of fight through it unless Michigan can really get things figured out up front, where they can get back to being that dominant and consistent running team that they've been.
Right. Yeah. That's what they're trying to do, and different things. And now it doesn't get any easier. Washington comes in with their young quarterback and running back and wide receivers, and this is a team that could possibly try to use the blueprint from USC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think all of us, me included, probably when we looked at this schedule, we're guilty of saying, like, well, the first half of the schedule is pretty tough. If you got those 3 games on the road, you get past USC, the schedule is not quite as tough leading up to the Ohio State game. But I tell you what, with Washington is, I think, certainly on the level of USC, really as good as any team Michigan has played this year, I think. Now you get them at home, which is an advantage, but this is a team that absolutely can beat Michigan, a team that absolutely can put up points on Michigan. As you mentioned, Damon Williams, the quarterback, is I think one of the rising stars in the Big Ten. If you haven't seen him, you're going to see him, because he's just a huge talent. The receivers they have, the running game they have with Coleman. I mean, this is a dangerous offense. And if Michigan's defense doesn't get some things figured out after what happened against USC, we could see a lot of the same things. And I think this is a Washington offense that absolutely can come in to the big house and put points on the board. Well,
it's the possibility of Michigan going against a running quarterback, Austin. A guy, a quick-footed running quarterback, a guy who can deal both with his feet and his arm. And Michigan traditionally does not do well with those types of quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's right. The dual threat quarterbacks have given Michigan some problems through the years, and this guy is, I think, as talented as any Michigan has seen in a little while. Jed Fish. I mean, Michigan fans know Jed Fish. He's a good offensive coach. They're going to come in here with a really good game plan to try to exploit, I think, a lot of the things that they saw last week.
Right. And the running back is no slouch either. You got a good running back, and I mean, Washington has played everybody solid, and I mean, they went up and down the field between the 20s on Ohio State, so it's not like they didn't move the ball. They just couldn't get it, and when they got into the red zone, they just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've played Ohio State as tough, I think, as anybody has this season. And you're right. If they could have cashed in a few opportunities in that game, then we might be talking about that game a little bit differently. They're 5-1. They've played some close games. They were down at Maryland, came back and won. I mean, this team has showed, they're resilient. I think they're maybe flying a little bit under the radar just because whatever reason, maybe they haven't had that signature win this season. Haven't played the toughest schedule, maybe, but if you watch their games, I mean, that's a talented team. They very easily could be in the rankings this week, probably should be in the rankings this week. So if anybody at Michigan is taking Washington lightly, they might be in for a surprise because I think this is a good team.
Yeah. Again, you're listening to Austin Meeks. Look, Austin, I agree with you. This could be that team. They're going to come in here. Do you think the time of the game, will that affect Washington?
Well, it could be a factor. I mean, it really could be a factor. I wrote a story about that before the season, talking to a lot of people, sleep experts and scientists who study this stuff about how it impacts you when you got to travel across the country and play at different times. And for the Washington players, it's going to feel like a 9 a.m. kickoff. And so what the scientists tell you, the people who study this stuff, is that for most people, your peak athletic performance happens later in the day. It happens in the mid-afternoon, early evening time. So there actually is an advantage if you're the team that's playing more in your prime window, whereas if you feel like it's 9 a.m., you got to do a little bit of extra to get yourself ready, get yourself warmed up. It was a big storyline last year. The teams traveling across multiple time zones did not play well. This year it's been, I think, there's been some on both sides, and we've seen some teams go across the country and win games. We saw Oregon go into Penn State and win that game. We saw Ohio State go to Washington and win that game. So, I don't know how big a factor it is. I think it's probably a small factor, but in a game like this, it could be really close. Certainly it could be a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, look, I'm looking at every angle, how we compete with this team. Sharon Moore. Did he have anything, to say about the players or anything, or was it just trying to keep them together? It's a good work week. We need to put the work week in because he had the jacket on, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Showed up to his press conference in the mechanic's jacket, really trying to, send the message that the only solution when you have a performance like Michigan had, you just go back to work. That's the only thing you can do. And I think that's been the approach this week. Look, I'm sure it was kind of an edgy week around the facility, around Schembechler Hall. I can't imagine anybody was real happy with how that game went, or in a real great mood, when they showed up there the next day. So we'll see if they can channel that in a positive direction. Maybe you're ticked off in a good way, and all of that comes out on the field tomorrow, and Michigan comes out and plays its best game of the season. That's a possibility. Or if you're ticked off in a bad way and you start to get some of the finger pointing and start to get some of the internal dissent, that could go the other way too. So I think I'm really curious to see how Michigan responds after this week.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Austin, what do you think about what's your thought on the I guess I don't know if I can say private equity. They called him a nonprofit partner now. But what do you think about that whole thing that's going on with the Big Ten Conference?
Well, it's an interesting situation, and Michigan is right in the middle of it because it seems like most of the Big Ten schools are on board with this plan, except for Michigan and USC, and Michigan has really been the one that's out front, coming out publicly against this plan. Specifically, the Board of Regents at Michigan yesterday during their meeting, some very pointed comments about how they felt like this was the equivalent of a payday loan, that the Big Ten was going to regret it in 5 years, that it felt rushed. It felt like Tony Petitti was pushing this on the schools, and sort of like one of those like act now or it's gone type of deals. A little bit of peer pressure to sign and do this deal. So I don't know. I mean, I think my concern with it is similar to what I heard from the regents yesterday, which is what's the long-term plan here? Because short term, yeah, of course, everybody would like to have the money. $2.4 billion up front, divided among 18 schools. I mean, every single school, Michigan included, has needs and ways that they could use that money. So yeah, that's great up front. But long term, how is taking this money now going to help you earn more money in the future, so that you're not just robbing Peter to pay Paul, as the expression goes? Because 10, 15 years from now, when you've got to give a cut of your TV revenues to this investment fund, now that's money that's coming out of your pocket. And if you're not using this money now in a way that's going to produce more money down the line, then all you're doing is getting some short-term relief in exchange for a long-term burden.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Michigan's regents are rightly asking, is that the right thing for the Big Ten to do?
My whole thing is I mean, everybody's dealing with debt, though. I did not know. I did read the Athletic, of course I did. And I mean, Austin, it seemed like everybody's in some bad debt situations and they need money. And I mean, whether it's for the student athletes today or it's for, paying bills until they can wait for another payday. I mean, that's what you're going to get that money, $100 million, but I mean, that's not even a drop in the bucket, really, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right that there is a lot of debt in the Big Ten. A lot of these athletic departments have done expensive facilities projects that they paid for with debt financing, and the bills come and due. And that is a challenge for a lot of Big Ten schools. How urgent is it? That's the part I'm not sure about. I talked to people at Michigan when the whole NCAA thing came out,
Mm-hmm.
and $30 million fine. That's not small change. And so the question is, well, how are you going to pay for that? And the feeling I got at the time is like, obviously, you don't just dip into your savings and pull out 30 million here, but there are ways that you can finance that. You can borrow money in a way that it's, manageable to pay off the debt over time.
Mm-hmm.
Just, somehow these schools are going to have to figure this out. They're going to have to figure out how to pay their players and pay off all of these projects they've done. And they're going to have to figure out a way that's sustainable. This one-time infusion of cash certainly could help, but my question is, what's the sustainable plan long-term for these schools to be able to pay their players, which is, that's not going anywhere. That expense is not going away. That line item expense is going to be, it's going to be on the balance sheet every single year. So somehow you got to figure out a way sustainably to be able to do that. And I'm just not sure how this accomplishes that.
Right. I don't get it, Austin. I don't know. I mean, is this the reason for the pandemic? Maybe. I mean, the Big Ten teams didn't make a lot of money, and they did borrow money, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. I mean, even Ohio State, which is a program that generates as much revenue pretty much as anybody. I mean, they've got some debt. Michigan's got some debt. I think what it is, in some ways it was a failure of these schools to see where this whole thing was going, because, I could have told you 3, 4, 5 years ago, this is coming, the revenue sharing, it's coming. And maybe it came faster than some people expected and they weren't fully prepared for it, but you could see the writing on the wall. And, if you were smart, you were not going to, take on a bunch of debt for that big stadium project. You were not going to maybe pay that big buyout or give that big contract. But, it's just so, there's so much pressure to do that stuff. As we saw, James Franklin gets fired. His buyout is $45 million. And Penn State just felt like, we got to pay it. What's the alternative? Like, this isn't going the way we want it to go. We feel like we're past the point of no return here. We're going to make a move. And then what does Indiana do? Indiana gives Kurt Signetti $93 million guaranteed to keep him from going to Penn State. It's like, you guys are just doing this to yourself. You're just firing your coaches and driving up the market for everybody else's coaches, taking on more, more huge contracts, paying more big buyouts. Now you need more money. Now you got to go to the Big Ten and say, bail us out. And it's like, at some point you guys got to stop the cycle here, because it's just not sustainable.
I mean, the most interesting thing about that is Kurt Signetti got a contract that's probably the third best contract of any coach in the college football. But Austin, I didn't hear Kurt Signetti say, I need to be paid. I need this. I need that. I guess they wanted to jump in and just make it a statement. And I get that, but why didn't you just work with Kurt and his representative to find out? I mean, you think about that money. Remember the Oklahoma State coach, Mike Gundy, right? He wanted a huge contract, and they were like, well, are you going to help with the NIL?
Well, you should have. You Google Signetti. Apparently, Microsoft Bing Mike Gundy.
I'm just saying, isn't that crazy? I mean, I get it. They want to shut down the rumors of going to Penn State. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But Kurt Signetti never said, I'm going to Penn State or I'll look at Penn State. Matt Rule, on the other hand, did say, that's a great university. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if there's anybody that ought to be worried, it might be Nebraska.
Right.
I mean, this is what these schools do. At the first little sign that their coach might even be considered for another job, if they want to keep their coach, they're trying to give him a contract extension, because nobody wants to be in that position, to be the school that got their coach stolen away from them. That's just like, that's the ultimate, for an AD, that's like the ultimate, the ultimate failure to have a coach. Now, how long has Indiana waited to have a coach like Kurt Signetti,
Exactly.
to have the success they've had the last 2 years? They're just terrified that, we let this guy go, and what happens? We're back to where Indiana football has been for 30 years or whatever, 50 years.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I also think, that fear just makes schools do some really irrational things. And, maybe this contract will be great for Indiana. Maybe Kurt Signetti will be there another 10 years and win a couple Big Ten championships and go to the playoff almost every year. And if so, they'll look back and say,
Right.
We're really glad we did this. But man, you don't have to look very far. Mike Gundy's a great example of coaches who just a few years ago were winning at a really high level, and then the bottom falls out, and you have no choice. You got to fire the guy, and you end up having to pay him a huge amount of money because you did this contract when you really didn't need to.
Just saying. Austin, really appreciate you coming on, being a part of the M Zone. We'll break this game down next week against Washington.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Jamie.
That's Austin Meeks with The Athletic. Read up on him because he knows his stuff. We need to go to a break. We come back. Coach Blade. That's right. Bob Thornblade's going to be on. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, and joining us, it's that special time, Coach Bob Thornblade. What's up?
Jamie.
Hi, Blade. How are you?
Did you get the key to the city in Air, Massachusetts?
We're good. I'm good, yeah.
They didn't give you the key to the city? Did they
No.
buy you a pizza or anything?
Yeah, I had something at the pizza. I did have a pizza.
Did you go by the old high school?
I did. It's new. It's a regional school now.
Where's your trophies? Where's your trophy case?
Well,
I still got the trophies in there.
Yeah, they still got the trophies in there. I left the plaque in Air where it needs to be.
That's only appropriate. That would be wrong and disrespectful if they don't honor you for all you did there and the great career you had there, along with Joe. James, last time we lost, and none of us like to lose, and it's difficult to lose. You know, that's not the history here. That's not the tradition. And we do, and when we have a rough patch or we don't do well, it's hard to take. I feel better today than I did, like last Tuesday.
Right.
I had a slight hangover because I was disappointed. I said after Oklahoma, I was disappointed but not discouraged. I'm not discouraged now, but I'm disappointed. But I am disappointed we lost, but I am concerned. But I'm resolutely behind our coach and our players, and I believe in them. And I think we have the talent to do what's required to get us where we want to go. And hopefully right now, that's just a victory over Washington. And I think that when I listened to Coach Sharon talk, I think he was right. Let's not worry about anything but the next game and the next first down and getting prepared. The one thing I think we did do, and he said that we played hard, and I think we have talent, which that's what concerns me. So what are we missing? Sometimes technique. Sometimes they just were so good offensively that when we blitzed them, we never got home, and then they just dumped the ball off for big plays. So when we blitz, we got to make sure we execute and get in his face and get home. Because anytime you blitz, you leave yourself vulnerable, particularly to a gifted passer like he was. So we got to learn from that and maybe be more strategic. When we put pressure on the quarterback. I also felt like Barnum and Moore are so aggressive. And they get upfield so far that they were able to run that counter where they pull the backside lineman and run with that king and run for big yards.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it is Barnum's new. He's new to that position. He has to learn how to identify a run and constrict that hole, because when our linebackers scraped out there, they're in an island, and then the safety, and then it made it worse when the safety missed the tackles, and then it resulted in big plays. So what I think is, there's a couple of things I'm thinking about that cross my mind. Number one, these are mistakes. There's errors of commission and errors of omission. So I think we made errors of commission. We just got to get better, learn what we're doing, be better at what we do. More technique, understand better what the offense is going to do, and conversely what the defense is going to do against us. We got to take pride in our blocking. We got to take pride in pocket protection. If we expect a freshman to take us to the promised land, and that's a lot to expect. He has the ability to do it, and he has the mental attitude. But we got to take pride. We got to say they're not going to hit our quarterback. They are not going to hit our quarterback. They're not going to do it. And we're going to protect him and fight like hell, and we're just not going to allow it. And then allow him, he was effective when he sprinted out, but he couldn't pocket pass because, the pressure that they put on him.
Right.
So those are some of the things that we got to look at. The other thing I'm looking at is one of the key positions on our staff now is general manager and also recruiting coordinator, player acquisition. I hear about Texas Tech. They spend all this money. I don't know if they spend more money than we did on NIL, but they had the best line in the country. Now, I've been to Lubbock, Texas, and it's not Ann Arbor by a far shot.
And, so Jimmy was pretty good at this, I thought, when he saw where he needed help and where there was a hole, wherever it was, then he'd get a player out of the portal. And those things are critical right now in today's football with the way it's set up. When players, I think we got to know who the best players are in the Mid-American at right guard and any other mid-level school, or for that matter, any major school where we can get a player to come in and maybe only for his fifth year to fill in. Other than Al Hattie, we have no lineman that is really considered a pro prospect right now. I like Crippen. I will say that our center's been doing a good job. So now, if we're going to build this thing on ball control, controlling the line of scrimmage, then we got to have great guys up there, and we got to have athletes. Jake Long and Hutchinson. I mean, I could go through these linemen. These guys are great athletes too. They're not just big and tough and mean. A lot of these guys are mean and great players and technique guys, but they're always really good athletes. So Saban started this. Saban was the first guy, Nick Saban, to do player personnel, and he had these analytics. He had these things. He wanted a certain length, size of their hands and length of their arms. Same things pros are doing now. And so, but he wanted to see bend in the waist, and the ability to move and stuff like that. And this is not just offensive line, I'm talking about every position. So I think that's critical to our football going forward. Northwestern, how much do you think? You think they had more NIL money than Penn State? I don't think so. So I think we got to invest our money in the right places. We all needed a quarterback, and we've made significant progress offensively. But that's all managing this thing, and it's completely different than when I coach. When I coach, we get a guy as a freshman, and we're going to develop him. And hopefully, by the time he's a junior and senior, he would be a great player for us, and he'd be older and have experience and know the part of the culture and all that. And that's what happened. But that's new now. It's new with the portal. So you see Signetti go out and just get himself, he had a good quarterback last year, but now he's got a lights out quarterback, a guy who's the Heisman favorite right now, this Mendoza.
Right.
So I think those are critical. It's just like pro football. Your general manager is a key guy, and that's true now too. Now it's not so simple at Michigan because we just can't transfer people that don't have some sort of some academic credentials. And in some schools, some of these kids, and I hate to say it, are taking classes that really Michigan's not going to transfer or take.
Right.
So they wouldn't qualify. Notre Dame has the same issue as we do. But when I look at SC and how talented they are and how well they played, I think that probably from a maturation standpoint, they're a little ahead of us. Certainly, Lincoln Riley in the match against Wink kind of outdid him a little bit because he recognized when Wink was going to blitz, and then they threw hot and they got the ball out to the tight end or the great Lemon and those things. So those are old things we can correct and learn from. And we always say it's not what happens to you that counts; it's how you react to it. So my thing is, and I'm betting on this because I believe in Sharon Moore. And I don't want to hear this criticism about Sharon. That's crazy. When Sharon came here, he had to put his entire staff together. Jimmy, and I don't blame Jimmy for this, took everybody. I mean, from the weight coach, he took everybody. And so Sharon had to put this thing together. And it's hard to get a cohesive staff and get everybody on the same page. It's like any other endeavor. It takes a while to get going and, everybody get on the same page. That said, I believe in Sharon Moore. I think he's a wonderful guy. Now, what Sharon said after the game, and it made me think of this contrast a little bit. He said after the game that we played hard and we did a good job, but we made a lot of mistakes. We got to correct them.
Right.
Now, what Coach Schembechler would have said, and Sharon's got to be his own man, and I'm not in the meeting. But what Coach Schembechler would, he's not Bo, and he doesn't have to be Bo. He should be Sharon Moore, and that's more than good enough because I think he's going to be a great coach for us for a long time. And he's a wonderful person who cares about the kids in the university. But Coach Bo would have said, we got beat in every phase of the game. It's totally my responsibility. But I will tell you this week, I'm going to find out who wants to play and who wants to win. We're going to have tough, aggressive practices. End of news conference. That would have been it. You've heard that too, Jamie. You've heard the old man talk like that. So what I want Sharon to, and I know he's like this because he was a player himself. He's got to demand excellence of his players and his staff, and he's got to expect them to measure up. And to get excellence, you have to demand it. You have to ask for it, and you have to push the right buttons. Now I know it's a new age, and you can't, be too tough on the kids, or their feelings are hurt and they want to go home. But I don't think there's any. I mean, there's no shortcuts in football. There just is not, or anything else for that matter. You have to execute. You have to have the fundamentals in place, and you got to do it with passion, and you got to play hard, and you got to be excellent at what you do. You're playing on a very high level. You can't just go out there and be a great athlete. Bill McCartney used to say, "Ability only gives you a chance." Now, I remember I went to Bo when I was coaching the receivers, and there's one guy I kept telling him I could not get him to do the right thing, run this route correctly. And so I told the guy, he said, "What's going on?" That kid, I want him coached. And I said, "Coach, I told him 1,000 times, I can't get him to do it." And his response to me was, "You're the coach." He said, "If you can't get him to do it, if you're not good enough, a coach, then I will get another coach. You understand me, son?" And I understood him right away. And I told the kid, "We're staying after practice and we're going to get this right." But he knew, now I was close to him, and you were too, Jamie, and he could say whatever he wanted to me, and I was going to love him and be with him forever, totally loyal to him. And I think, that has to be established over time. And that's because we had so much experience together. But that's just what I think, everybody's called to excellence. This university calls everybody to excellence. We want to have the best English department. Everything we do, we want to be the best at. Does that mean we're not going to have some disappointments? Yeah, we're going to have them along the way. Now, when I look at this Big Ten conference, I think without question, Ohio State and Indiana, who are undefeated, are the best teams. I don't think there's any question. It doesn't appear to me that anybody's close to them. Maybe Oregon. But, Indiana went out there and nailed them. There are 9 teams with 1 loss. USC is 3-1, and they're a great team. Now, I think they could probably beat anybody if they're right. If they're mentally right and they're prepared, I think they can compete with anybody. Northwestern is 2-1. What a job this guy has done there. Then Michigan, Iowa, Nebraska, Oregon, UCLA. They fired a coach, and look at the way that they responded. And Washington is coming in at 5-1. We have to win this game. This is a critical game. Illinois is 2-2, and so they have a couple losses, but they moved the ball against SC. They just couldn't stop them. But SC couldn't stop them either, and just eventually outscored SC. So now, and then we have some teams with 3 losses. They're out of it. They're not going to get anywhere. With 2 losses, if we run the table. Now let's beat Washington first. We can get to where we want to go. And Michigan State, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Penn State University. Penn State. Now, Franklin, part of his problem is he was telling everybody this is the best team I ever had. And then he got fired in Purdue. Now, in some ways, maybe Franklin was the winner last weekend. He got fired and they owe him $50 million. Nobody wants to get fired, but that's a nice going away present. and he's in good shape. So this week, the big game, I think, and it continues to be, it's always going to be my big game, is Michigan and Washington, because it's critical to both teams. Washington's 5-1. And this Jed Fish is a good coach. I know you've been talking about him all week. Now let's look real quickly at what we're doing statistically. We're rushing the ball 58% of the time and throwing it 42%. They rush the ball 58 and throw it 42. Now that's not the balance I think is good. I want it 55-45. Keep people off balance, be able to do both things excellently. And one of the reasons they're rushing the ball is their second best rusher is Williams, the quarterback.
Right.
And he's really good. And inside the red zone, Jamie, he's going to carry the ball. You can count on it. So just like Mateer, we're going to be prepared to take him out of the game. We have to stop the rushing attack, give him a bad play on first down, force him into passing it downfield. Points scored, we're scoring 29.5. We've given up 17.8. And they're scoring 39 points a game. They're scoring. But they've given up, almost 20 points a game. So probably the strength of their team is their offense, and I wouldn't call it a weakness, but the defense is still giving up a lot of points. Our yards per pass attempt is 7.7. You got to be over 8. They're 10.2. So they're pretty good. we talk about points allowed. That's the big statistic. We're still hanging in there pretty good, even though SC got after us pretty good and probably could have scored at the end if they wanted to, but they chose not to. Turnover differential, we're doing good. Now win the turnover battle. That'll be important tomorrow. We're a +1 on the season. They're a plus 0.83, so they're almost +1. Remember, that's any turnover is like is 7 points. Kicking, we're 8 for 11 field goals. We're long 56, I believe. Zavada's the best kicker in football, and I'll go to the bank with him. I think we might have had a few holding or center snap, just old timing at the beginning. But, you know, we got to count on him. He's got to come through, and he will. I'm confident of that. They're 6 for 7 with a long of 51. Neither one of us is punting well. Last week when I went in there and we shanked the punt 28 yards against SC, that hurt. You know, you can't give a team like SC or Washington, for that matter, a short field. If you got to make them go the long way, and then count on them like tennis, hit it back at them, let them make the mistake. Give them a bad play on first down, then play defense. Then you know what. Then they're limited to what they can do, and you can start to call the defenses. If it's 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 3, then you know they could pass, run. You don't know what to do. You know that's tough. So we're 32.2 net punt. That's not good enough. It's got to be 38. They're 32.6. They're no good either. So it'll be interesting to think. I think we have a good punter. He's proven he can kick the ball. He did not have a good outing last week, but we didn't have a good outing across the board in a lot of ways. Third down efficiency, we're not good enough. We're 39% of the time. We're going to get a first down on third down. We got to be well over 40. They're 55.2. On third down, their offense gets a first down over 50% of the time. That's the most important down in football. Mm-hmm. Our defense has been pretty good. They're holding opponents to 37.3. So people are not great on us in third down. And that'll be a big part of this game. Who wins the third down conversions? And their defense is 41.2. So that's not great. Their defense has not been great on third down. Quarterback rating, we're completing 58% of our passes, 58.6. That's not good. He's got to be, we've got to keep going with him. He's a heck of a player. I'm not down on Bryce. I think he's going to be great. He didn't get the protection he needed last week. He got hit a lot. We can't allow him to get hit. It's hard to have a guy get hit like that and then ask him to go back and be Tom Brady. You know, it's not going to happen. You know, they get beat up. And then it's hard to get back there, set your feet, not hear the footsteps. We got to protect them, and we got to have pride. They're completing 73% of their passes. This quarterback they anticipated would be great, and he is great. You know, we have 15 sacks and 40 tackles for loss. That's really good. We have 8 interceptions. You know, they have 12 sacks and 25 tackles for loss with 6 interceptions. So our defense is more productive, you know. Now, they have a really good running back. I think I'll take Justice Haynes over anybody in this league or in the country, and I hope he's back. You know, Jamie, I'm sure you've had your ribs hurt. That's tough. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure where he is. You know, it's tough, man. And they hit you in the ribs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and particularly a guy like that, when he struggles, and he's going to get 2 or 3 guys hitting him. Not that Marshall. I thought Marshall, after Justice went out, I thought Marshall really ran hard. I thought I thought he sort of picked up the mantle. I thought he felt the pressure, like, to come through for us. And so I'm high on him. They're running, Justice Haynes is still 7 yards per carry, even with a limited appearance last week. Jonah Coleman is a great back. The pros are anxious to have him. He's 5.4, 86 yards a game, but he catches the ball. He has 20 receptions. Yeah. So he's going to be out there catching the ball. And, I talked about the quarterback. He's rushed for 5.2 yards, 63 yards a game. We can't let him run the ball. Now, when I look at this thing where I look at the pro prospects and what the pros say about some of these guys. They got 3 guys they're looking at. The running back, one of the defense, and a wide receiver, Denzel Boston, who is good, by the way. I should mention both receivers are good. And Jed Fish is a talented play caller. We're going to see another talented play caller. We saw one last week. We got Bulls 74. These are high. He doesn't even play much. Damon Payne 72. Giovanni 167. That's not high grade, but Rod Moore's 85. The pros rate him as 85%. It's a solid B. Barnum's 83. Justice Haynes 83. Hill, 83. These are high grades coming out of the pro guys. Derek Moore, 82. Rashawn Berry, 80. TJ Metcalf, 77. Zavada, 77. Samaj Morgan, 76. There's talent there. We have talent. But I repeat what Phil McCarthy used to say all the time. Talent just gives you a chance. Ability just gives you a chance. You got to put all of it together. It's a tough game. So let's talk about some keys here, man. No mistakes. We have to learn from our mistakes. And we have to do that as a staff. We have to do that as players. We all went through this. I lost games. You lost games. You learn from your mistakes, and you don't repeat them. Because our guy, didn't allow it. And if you did repeat mistakes, you went and sat down.
Right.
You weren't going to play. Mistake. How many times you hear, I don't need mistake players. I don't need you. I don't want mistake players. So we have to do a great job of tackling. We got to give the defender, Jamie, you could talk about this. You got to give you can't give a running back a two-way go. Not a guy who's elusive like you or the running backs that we're facing. So you got to turn your shoulders. You got to take good angle, and then you got to wrap them up. And you can't be square shoulders squatting in the hole. They're going to beat you. The great backs, they do that damn jump cut, and they get by you. You couldn't, if you had square shoulders, you're sitting along the hole. Jamie Morris would beat you every time. So you got to force Jamie into the crowd, and don't give him a two-way go. I talked about having pride. This is Michigan. Have pride, man. It's an important game for us. So we've slipped up a couple times. That's behind us now. Does that mean we love our players? I remember one time I was at the bank. I was in line. Some guy was cutting up John Navarre. Really blistering. That's back when you stood in line at a bank. And I said, wait a minute. I said, I don't know who the hell you are, or where you played, or what you think. But John Navarre is my guy. John Navarre is my guy. All these guys that wear that jersey and those headgears, they're our guys. And we love our guys. Maybe not going to win every game. Maybe they'll make some mistakes, but they are ours. They are Michigan. That is our family. That's who we are. And I said, shut up. I don't want to hear from you anymore about John Navarre or any of the other guys wearing that helmet. And that's how I feel. And that's how our fans feel about all these guys. So when they come out, be ready to go tomorrow. Fans, be ready to go. When our guys come out, fire them up, man. It's time to go. It's time to win. Stop Washington run game. Let's stop that quarterback from running effectively against us. Let's stop their great tailback. No MAs. I just got to keep saying no mistakes. Win the turnover battle. We're doing a pretty good job at that. Receiving core, get better, make plays. That was great to see Marsh get that play. And I'm telling you, McCauley can play. I like Klein. I like those guys. I like our talent. Play fast. Kicking game. Let's not screw up punts. Let's have good punting. Let's kick the ball. Dominic, when you get a chance, come through, and I know you will. All right? So there we are. It's Michigan. We're ready to go. We're up against it a little bit, but when we get pushed into a corner, you push somebody. When you push somebody into a corner, you push them into a marble wall, and we ain't moving no more. Now we're taking a stand, and we're going to come out and play these Huskies coming over here who think that they smell blood in the water. They think Michigan's not. It's not Michigan. Yes, we are. We got talent on this team. We got good coaches. We got good people. They're going to respond because they have people of character. I'm positive of that. So I want the people to believe. I want you to fire up. We're coming back. Let's get back, get Washington, and let's make a run at this thing. We're not giving up. We're coming back, and we're going to win. All right. Go Blue, Jamie.
Thanks, Blade. Appreciate it. That's Bob Thornblade, former coach, former player. We're going to go to a break. We come back. On the other side, keep in mind, we're checking out at 5:30. Yep. So I'm just letting you all know.
5:30, we out.
We're going to have keys to the game and pick 'em on the other side. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
Jingle, jingle, baby.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler. And we're going to have some pick'ems right now, and then we're going to do our three keys, and then we'll close it out.
Oh, we're going to do pick'em right now. Okay.
Yeah, why not? Oh, you want to do that last?
No, that's fine. I just wanted I just didn't have the page open. That's
okay.
all. Just make sure I get the button ready to go, and boom. do that. I can't play the audio over the stream because I'm trying not to get flagged on the internet again.
I got you.
So we'll start off. This is very SEC heavy. I'm not going to lie to you because there's a lot of top 25 games.
Yeah, they got a lot of games this week.
Yeah. So we'll start off the one coming up tomorrow, 12 noon in Nashville, Tennessee. It's number 10 LSU traveling to Vanderbilt, number 17 the Land. Vandy is a 1.5 point favorite in this one. Jamie, who do you like in this one?
It's Tennessee.
It's in Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go with. You know what? I'm gonna go with Vandy. I'm gonna take Vandy.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I think I'm gonna since Big Sweet ain't on here, I'll just do what I have done in weeks past. Just give him the one that's favorited.
Right.
I don't know what it is. I mean, Vanderbilt has been on a high. They kept it close with Alabama.
Right.
Last week?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
I mean, they didn't look too bad.
Right.
The question is, can that can that little off week lull in between do good for them? And I think they can. I'll take Vanderbilt in this one as well. I'll compile the pick the fan vote a little later on because that one just wrapped up. 3:30 on ABC. It is a big batch between number 5 Ole Miss and number 9 Georgia. College Game Day going to be down there. And just as a heads up, if you're not listening to our show, you may want to pay attention. James Franklin's supposed to be on the show live from Georgia for College Game Day for that one. But Uga favored by 7.5, 3:30 on ABC. Jamie, what'd you like?
It's in Georgia, right?
It's in between the hedges. Yes,
oh, my God. Alabama went in there and won, Miss.
They did.
Lane Kiffin can't do that. I'm gonna take Kirby. I'll take Kirby Smart.
You know, Lane Kiffin, he's had a pretty good year.
He has.
But in typical Lane Kiffin fashion, he always drops the ball before the goal line, and he's at the goal line right now on first down, and he doesn't have to do much, but he's about to fumble the ball. Give me Georgia to win this one handily in the game tomorrow. 7:30 also on ABC. We stay in the SEC again in a top 12 matchup. Number 11 Tennessee travels to number 6 Alabama, and Alabama is a 7.5 point favorite. Do I really have to ask you?
No.
Okay, I figured I did.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, I figured as much. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Alabama on this one. I mean, if it were in Tennessee, I might think differently of it, but with it being down in Tuscaloosa, I think I'm going to go with that one.
Alabama owes them one, right?
I think so.
Yeah, they beat Alabama last year.
Yeah, I think that was because I think at that point that's when everyone's calling for old boy's head at that point.
Right.
7:30 tomorrow. Hey, we're not in the SEC. We're in the Big Ten, sort of. Number 20 USC travels to South Bend to take on number 13 Notre Dame. On NBC, the Fighting Irish, a 9.5 point favorite. Jamie, do you like the Irish or do you like an upset?
I do like the Irish on this one because hey, Miz, they lose, they're out. Every game's a playoff game. This is a playoff game right now. I'm taking Notre Dame.
Here's what I'm going to go with here. USC had a close game in the same time zone 2 weeks ago when they traveled to Illinois to take on the Fighting Illini. Notre Dame hasn't played anyone and won. Any team that they've played that of relevancy, they have lost. They lost to Texas A&M. They lost to Miami. A&M was at home. Miami was on the road. I'll give them credit. The Miami one, that was a close one. You just couldn't hold out. Give me the upset. Give me USC to beat Notre Dame tomorrow night in front of touchdown Jesus. 8:00 on Fox. This is the Holy War, Jamie. It's number 23 Utah traveling to Provo to take on number 15 BYU. The Utes are a 3.5 point favorite. Jamie, who wins the Holy War?
Ooh, I'm taking BYU on that one.
Ooh, you're gonna go with BYU on this one. Okay. You know what? I made the mistake last week by saying Utah hasn't done squat. Not going to do it this week. Give me Utah to win the Holy War this year and to take care of the Cougars. And, Cosmo can jump through, a flaming hoop or whatever he wants to do. So he's got that going for us. So that being said, we head to the game of relevancy that we care about. It's Big Noon Kickoff. Washington at Michigan. 12 noon specifically 12:10 Eastern time was when kickoff will take place. You can hear the game right here on the Big 1050 WTK, and you can also hear the game on Fox being called by
What up, Dunk?
Gus Johnson and Joe Klatt. Jamie, Michigan's favored by 5.5. Who do you like in this one, and what's the score?
I like Michigan, of course, and I'm taking those guys. I'm taking Michigan 35, Washington 32.
I got to go with Michigan on this one, and it's going to be a tough one to really gauge out because here's the thing: you've got two teams with quarterbacks that are similar. They're freshmen or they're underclassmen. They're very mobile. They've got high expectations. They got high talent. I think the biggest thing is going to come down to, can Michigan's defense turn around what they did last week? Right. And I think they can. I'll take Michigan winning this one in a dogfight. Give me Michigan winning this one 24-21, the final over at the Big House. By the way, don't forget, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLE. And, of course, bet responsibly. We do not endorse any of your bets, especially if they miss.
Exactly.
Like mine last week. So there's that. So, Jamie, we got a little bit of time. We got about 15 minutes before we hand the coverage off to the Michigan Sports Network from Learfield, because Michigan basketball has their exhibition contest tonight against Cincinnati. A little preview of things to come for the Wolverines, hopefully. So I guess we'll start off with your 3 keys of victory for Michigan tomorrow, since we've got the time to do it.
Control of the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They've got to establish themselves early and get it done. Control of the line of scrimmage is one. Number 2, fast start, both offense and defensive. We got to get those done, and it's important to get done. And then from the third, probably, hey, you gotta box that kid in. That quarterback is something else, and you gotta box that kid in. You gotta spy him. You gotta watch him. You gotta do some things that you may have to do.
Okay,
those are my 3 keys. Got to get it done. Those are the 3 keys, and it's important that they get this done.
Absolutely. To me, key number 1 is definitely got to be, you've got to you got to play a heck of a lot better defensively this week than you did last week.
Mm-hmm.
No glitz and glamour, none of this, blue collar mentality, mumbo jumbo stuff that they wanted to kind of put out there on Monday. You got to go out there and do the work.
Mm-hmm.
No flash and show. There's no flash. Go out there and show. Show the country that was a lapse in judgment. Go and take care of the defense. Get as much pressure as you possibly can.
Right.
Number 2, and I've noticed this in terms of the offense. They're basically similar to Michigan in terms of defensively they're pretty similar. They've only allowed 1 extra yard per game compared to Michigan. They've only allowed 1 point more in terms of their point differential per game, only allowing 19 points. I mean, if you need to go back and listen to everything Coach Blade said, there's that.
Right.
But it really does come down to having to force a turnover. You caused 2 turnovers last Saturday at USC, but you didn't take advantage of it.
No, you did not.
You're able to take advantage of it, I think, 1 time. You're able to get a touchdown off of the fumble recovery. But you need to cash in. When you get that turnover, forget buffs, forget all the flash and flare. You got to go out there and you got to take advantage of things.
Right.
Number 3, whoever the next man up in terms of the running back room, because we don't know the status of Justice Haynes after his apparent rib injury from last week. We don't know if he's going to be good to go. Jake will chat. We'll get your hype up here in a second here. But after Jordan Marshall, it's going to be next man up at that point. Because we don't know, even if Justice Haynes does play, we don't know the extent of how much he's going to play.
Right.
So you got to make sure that you've got your RB3 ready to take the place of to take the role of RB2, especially if you want to dominate the running game. That's got to be the big thing right there. Washington does not give up a lot of rushing yards. They give up an average of 83 rushing yards a game. This is your breakout game to do it. So go out there, have Jordan Marshall run all over him. If Justin Saints is healthy enough, he can run all over him. Whoever next man up is, take that step and make a name for yourself. So that to me is my 3 keys right there. You gotta step up defensively, cash in on those turnovers, and the running game. Whoever is RB3, get ready to be RB2 and step it up, because this is it. Like we said, Jamie, you're only limited to 2 losses a season to get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
you're already at that 2 loss mark.
You can't more.
Got to turn it around. That's it. No mas.
You got to play football the way it was supposed to be played.
Bunch of blue collar stuff.
Exactly. Hard, tough, and get after it.
Exactly it.
Get after it.
And Jamie, since we got time, I mean, we got hyped up from your coach. Why not get hyped up from one of our callers that calls up every Friday to get us feeling right going into the weekend? That'd be our guy, Jake in Ann Arbor. Jake, hype us up.
What a great day to be a Michigan Wolverine. I am pumped up. First of all, I just want to say, I know we lost last week, but I've been telling everybody, you just got to settle down. We got to get behind this team, win or lose and stuff. I said, I know we're going to pull through this. We still got plenty of season left. I am pumped up too. We have a basketball game tonight, less than 2 hours, and then we're 18 and a half awesome hours away till the big football game tomorrow and stuff. And I want to hear you, Wolverine Nation. When I say go, you say blue. Go!
Boo!
Go!
Blue!
Go!
Blue!
It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. One game, one play, one moment at a time. I'll hang up and listen. Go blue, win or lose. I'll hang up and listen. Go blue, shock the world.
Oh, that's Brad. I got to do this.
Go blue, baby.
That's right. And then hit him with the. So there's that. Yeah. Jamie, and like I said, I know we're coming up to pregame coverage on the Michigan Sports Network from Learfield with Michigan basketball. And I know like there's not a lot of people that have really kind of paid attention to basketball, but I mean, have you?
Not right now.
You haven't had any sniff of it?
No, have not seen the rankings and everything, preseason rankings and all that. That doesn't really mean a thing. But I mean, I'm focused on football right now. It'll be in a couple weeks. I'll start watching some college basketball. This preseason game should be good.
Yeah.
I look forward to reading about it and seeing it,
Yep. For those that want to hear it on the radio dial, because unless you have big BTN Plus, you probably won't be seeing it. Brian Bush, Terry Mills will have the call. The pregame coverage right here on the Big 1050 starting at 5:30. 6 o'clock tip-off next door on 102.9.
Am I going to have to fight home? Try to get home? Could be a lot of people, right?
I don't know. I mean, as long as you don't get too terribly close to, the sporting arenas, because again, Michigan hockey, they got their series finale with Robert Morris tonight.
Right.
At 7
Did we win last night?
We did.
Okay.
It was the first time that Michigan has trailed all year.
Right.
They were down 1-0 and 2-1 at one point, but freshman Adam Valentini got his first 2 collegiate goals, one of them tying it up at 2, and then game winner in the third period to make it 3-2. And then TJ Hughes added the extra insurance under a minute to play to make it a 4-2 win. I was at the game last night, got a chance to chat with our guy Brandon Navarro after the game. And he said just flat out that was not the best effort that we've had as a team. But that's where the improvement comes into play.
Right.
Where you just got to find a way to turn around and find a way to get better on the ice and just go back to the drawing board and try to draw up something even better tonight. So if you're going to the game tonight, get there early because it's going to traffic's going to be a little hectic probably over there between Chrysler Center and Yost. So give yourself enough time to get there tonight for either one of those games.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. We're parking in those street parking and everything like that too.
This is definitely a weekend for those for the Greek Row right there on State Street to get some moolah.
Yeah, that'd be good. There you go.
Yeah. What did you think about last night, Jamie? Because I don't know how much you guys talked about this between you and Sweet, because obviously I was doing some running around next door and apparently also doing tech stuff by fixing our printer because of paper jam. The old man's day yesterday.
Icy hot game.
Well, not just the icy hot bowl between Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. But return of the Max.
I like the return of the Max. That was cool. That was cool. It was good to see. And you know what? Detroit should enjoy that. He's a guy who is here.
Considering too that they're not paying him still. So,
right.
I mean,
exactly.
The Mets are still paying him. The Washington Nationals are still paying him. I think he's being paid by a third team as well. So I'm like, he's getting paid by three teams besides being paid by the Toronto Blue Jays.
Still playing at a high level. That's the most incredible thing.
He had that fire in his belly like we had seen before, where if you caught it before he was pulled in the sixth inning, where manager came out and he's just like, nah, I'm not done.
Right.
I'm not done.
He was ready to play. He wanted to play.
Get your ass back in the dugout, old man.
Exactly. I don't need you. I don't even. Who told you to come out here?
Who said you could come out here?
Exactly.
I know you only I know you're probably only a few years older than me, old man. But listen right now. Get your butt back in the damn dugout.
Right.
I ain't done yet.
He wasn't done. The man, he was right though. He wasn't done.
Pulled a Rocky and said, "I ain't hear no bell."
Right.
I didn't hear no bell.
Yeah, exactly. So I like what I saw, and how about Shohei Ohtani pitching tonight?
That's going to be a big one right there, because I mean the Dodgers can close out their NLCS at home. They are up 3-0 on the Brewers after I think it was a 3-1 victory last night in LA.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And here's the thing: like I know, like I don't care much about playoff baseball because the Tigers are out and all that. But man, I was really hoping that we were going to get, a World Series champion that we haven't seen ever.
I was looking for the Brewers and the what's the other team?
Either the Mariners or the Jays. I mean, the
Mariners.
The
Mariners.
Because the Mariners haven't been. They've never been to the World Series.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The Mariners and the Brewers. Yeah. I was looking forward for that.
Yeah. The Brewers haven't been since I believe it was the 1980s. I believe like early 80s was the last time they were in the World Series.
Remember?
I wasn't born then, so I couldn't say
sorry.
that. Yeah. I believe what you said. It was 1980, and that was they played the Angels when they were a National League team. So that tells you how far back
they were.
I mean, they're still a National League team, but for some reason, they jumped from American League for a little bit and then went back to National League. I don't know, but I mean, I would have loved to see the Brewers get in. It's basically going to be a highly doubtful situation of them to come back 3-0. Unless they channel their inner 2004 Boston Red Sox, which I don't see that happening at this point.
That is a dangerous team right now.
It is.
Those Dodgers. I mean, if you want to even things up, you're gonna have to go to a pay scale. You know what I'm saying? It's something.
Really about it, yeah.
I mean, they are too good.
Yeah,
good.
There's a reason why the big market teams are usually in the playoffs. I mean, the Dodgers, the Yankees,
Red Sox.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the only exception of that of the highest paid grades that missed the playoffs were the Metropolitans.
Right.
But I mean, for the most part, everyone that had a high pay grade were either in contention or they made the playoffs.
No,
and
you're right.
There's a reason why for it, which kind of brings it back to Detroit, where there have been a bunch of rumors that apparently come out. Apparently, people are trying to come up with a story. Someone has been coming up with a story about the Derek Skubal saga in terms of re-signing him and bringing up how there's $250 million between where the organization and Skubal are happy to be at. This was back at the beginning of the season. So if you're reading these articles and you're sharing them on the socials, be advised, those conversations happen in last year's offseason.
Right.
Not what's happened
It's not
within the
happening
week.
now. Right.
Trust me. And I've already put it out there. I've joked with Sam, but I'll be honest with you. I'm at a point where I'm a little serious because the Tigers do only have one more year of control with Tarek Skubal, and he's come out and said he doesn't want to stick around.
Huh?
But if you let that man go, I will probably get some kerosene. I will torch Comerica Park to the ground and then go across the street and torch Little Caesars headquarters. Don't believe me? Try me. If you don't ever hear me in 2027, there's a reason why. Because Daddy got himself in some trouble, and I'm not going to be happy about it. That's all I'm going to say.
That's just a shame.
It's a shame.
That
but
would be a shame if they don't keep that young man. I'm just saying.
They need to. I mean, the number of people that have already taken his picture and they've, or him coming out the mound with his usual, put him in the gray Yankee sweater, the road Yankee jersey, Cub jerseys.
Right. That could happen. That's the thing. He's going right to the Yankees. Right to the Yankees.
Well, the Cubs will probably find a way to spend some kind of money too. So,
right.
But again, this is the one time where Tiger fans want Chris Ilitch and this organization to spend the damn money. Spend the money for your best pitcher. That's all I'm saying. But the ALCS gets back in action, I believe, tomorrow back in Toronto, tied 2-2. That's going to be a good series. I honestly, I could care who punches their ticket to the American League to win the pennant in the American League. Honestly, when you think about it, one team has never been. The other team hasn't been since like the 1990s.
Right.
When
it's
touch them all, Joe.
Exactly.
You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
That's true. There you go. That's gonna do it. I'm just saying that look.
Bobby just stepped in and he said Scherzer was retiring.
Yeah. He announced that he's retiring after this year.
So after this season, Scherzer's hanging it up. So
he's gonna get his other Cy Young. He get his twin. He get the twin. He have the twin babies. He got the two Cy Youngs.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you got the two Cy Youngs, and then like I said, you're getting paid by other franchises to pitch for another team. That just helps out for you. It helps you out.
Maybe the Tigers will do something special. They'll retire his jersey.
I highly doubt that. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a decision on him where he's going to where he'll get his jersey hung in the rafters at the very least. But Jamie, we got to bounce out of here because men's basketball pregame coverage starts up in a matter of seconds.
You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.